I should have known something was wrong when Commander Vex'thal started laughing, not the kind of laugh you hear at victory celebrations, mind you. This was different. This was the sound of a military leader who had just realized he'd made a catastrophic mistake, and his 17 eyes were all focused on one singular, terrifying fact: the human had no weapon. Let me back up, because you're going to need context for this absolute disaster. My name is Krillmoth, third observer of the Galactic Enforcement Fleet, and I've been documenting first contact scenarios for the better part of 3 centuries. I've seen species that breed methane, civilizations that communicate through color-changing skin, and one memorable race that reproduced by exploding. But humans were supposed to be easy. The intelligence reports said they were soft, fragile. Their bones broke easily, their skin tore like paper, and they needed a very specific atmospheric mixture just to stay alive. When we intercepted their vessel near the Andromeda Relay, Commander Vex'thal had been practically giddy. This was going to be a standard collection operation. Board the ship, take the crew for processing, add another species to the collective's labor force. Simple. Clean. Boring, except the human commander, a woman named Kate Morrison, didn't seem to understand she was supposed to be afraid. Identification confirmed, announced Sam Riggs, our scanning officer. His chitinous fingers danced across the holographic display. Single human vessel. Crew complement of 47. Armament level, minimal. They have kinetic projectile weapons. How quaint. Vex'thal's mandibles clicked together in what passed for a smile among the Krefnari. Prepare boarding teams. Standard suppression protocols. I want this done before second meal. I should mention that Vex'thal was not a small being. He stood 4 meters tall, had exoskeleton plating that could withstand plasma fire, and possessed enough physical strength to tear through reinforced steel. His boarding teams were equally impressive. 30 warriors, each one a veteran of countless conflicts, armed with pulse rifles and shock batons. They'd done this thousands of times before. The human ship, by comparison, looked like something a child might build from scrap metal. It was called the Defiant Hope, which should have been our second warning sign. Any species that names their vessels after abstract concepts tends to be problematic. Our boarding tunnel connected with a hiss of equalizing pressure. The human ship's corridor was narrow, poorly lit, and smelled vaguely of something they called coffee. The boarding team advanced in formation, their boots clanging against metal gratings. Everything was going according to plan. Then we reached the bridge, and that's when the plan spontaneously combusted. Kate Morrison stood in the center of the bridge, hands clasped behind her back, completely unarmed. She was small by human standards, maybe 1.7 meters tall, with dark hair pulled back in what humans call a ponytail. She wore a simple gray uniform with absolutely no protective gear. No armor. No helmet. No weapon. She was smiling. "Gentlemen," she said, and I'll never forget the absolute calm in her voice. "And ladies. And whatever your species considers appropriate honorifics. I'm Commander Kate Morrison. Welcome aboard." Vex'thal's translator struggled with the casual tone. "You will surrender immediately. Resistance is futile. Your crew will be processed according to Collective Protocol 7-3. Kate's smile widened. "No. Just that. Just no." Like Vex'thal had asked her to try a new flavor of food and she politely declined. The commander's secondary arms flexed. "Perhaps you misunderstand your situation, human. We have 30 warriors, armed with weapons capable of reducing your ship to its component atoms. You have nothing. You are alone." "Oh, I'm not alone," Kate said, and her eyes sparkled with something that made my primary spine tingle. "I have physics." Savrix checked his scanner, confused. "Commander, I'm not detecting any additional weapons. No hidden defense systems. Nothing." Kate walked forward, slowly, her hands still behind her back. Tell me something. How much do you know about human history? Specifically, how much do you know about human warfare? Vex'thal raised his pulse rifle. Stop moving. She didn't stop. She kept walking, one measured step at a time. We've been killing each other for approximately 10,000 years. We've gotten very, very good at it. We've created weapons that could sterilize our entire planet. We've fought wars that killed millions. And do you know what the most important lesson we learned from all that murder and chaos was? The boarding team shifted nervously. Something about her tone was wrong. Prey didn't sound like that. Prey didn't walk toward predators with that kind of confidence. The most important weapon, Kate continued, isn't the gun. It's not the bomb. It's not even the soldier. The most important weapon is understanding the battlefield. She stopped walking. She was now standing directly in front of Vex'thal, close enough to touch his armor. Close enough that he could have killed her with a casual backhand. She looked up at him and laughed. That's when Vex'thal started laughing too, because he finally understood. You're in my ship, Kate said softly. On my territory. Breathing my air. And you made one critical, fatal mistake. You assumed I needed a weapon to kill you. Her hand moved to a control panel on the wall. Not quickly. Not threateningly. Just a casual reach. This is the atmospheric control system, she explained, like she was giving a tour to school children. Human ships are designed to support human life. Oxygen-nitrogen mix, standard pressure, comfortable temperature. But here's the interesting thing about being adaptable enough to conquer a planet with 100 different climate zones. We got really good at controlling our environment. She pressed a button. Nitrogen displacement in 3, 2, 1. The atmosphere changed. I felt it immediately. My breathing apparatus struggled to compensate. Around me, the boarding team started gasping. Their exoskeletons, designed for combat, not environmental hazards, offered no protection. Vex'thal's pulse rifle clattered to the floor as his primary hands clutched at his breathing ports. Kate stood there, breathing normally, watching them suffocate. Humans can survive in approximately 15% oxygen, she said conversationally. We can hold our breath for 2, sometimes 3 minutes. Our bodies are ridiculously adaptable. We can adjust to thin mountain air, humid jungles, frozen tundras. We're persistence hunters. We're endurance specialists. We evolved by outlasting everything that tried to kill us. Severix managed to rasp out a question. Why aren't you affected? Kate tapped her chest. Pre-adaptation training. I've been breathing low oxygen mix for the past hour. My blood is saturated. My body is ready. Yours isn't. 3 warriors collapsed. Then 5 more. Then a dozen. Their bodies weren't built for oxygen deprivation. Their metabolisms burned too hot, too fast. They needed the atmosphere they were designed for, and Kate had just taken it away. Vex'thal fell to his knees. His 17 eyes were wide, terrified. This is murder. No, Kate corrected gently. This is war. You came to my ship. You threatened my crew. You assumed we were weak because we didn't have your fancy weapons. But here's the thing about humans, Commander. We don't need fancy weapons. We are the weapons. We've been fighting against hostile environments for millennia. Gravity, pressure, temperature, atmosphere, these are all tools. You just have to know how to use them. She walked past him, past the fallen boarding team, and activated the ship's communication system. Her voice echoed through both vessels. Attention Galactic Enforcement Fleet. This is Commander Kate Morrison of the Defiant Hope. Your boarding team has been neutralized. 0 casualties on my side. 30 casualties on yours. They're not dead, just unconscious. I've restored normal atmosphere. They'll wake up in a few minutes with spectacular headaches and a newfound respect for atmospheric pressure. Back on our command ship, the bridge had gone completely silent. Every officer was staring at the tactical display. At the impossible situation. At the fact that one unarmed human had just defeated an entire boarding team, Kate's face appeared on our view screen. Now, let's talk about this processing you mentioned. Because I have some thoughts about slavery, and none of them are polite. I also have some thoughts about what happens to species that try to enslave humanity. Would you like to hear them? Or would you prefer to retreat and report to your superiors that you just got absolutely humiliated by a species that hasn't even colonized its second planet yet? She leaned closer to the camera. Your choice, gentlemen. But choose quickly, because I'm running out of patience, and I have 46 other crew members who are all very creative problem solvers. We've been in space for less than a century, and we've already figured out 17 different ways to weaponize absolutely everything. Want to find out what happens when humans get really motivated? The silence stretched. Then Vex'thal, still wheezing, managed to activate his communicator. Retreat. Full retreat. Mark this system as hostile territory. Do not engage. I repeat, do not engage. Kate smiled. Smart decision, Commander. Have a safe trip home. And tell your collective something for me, will you? Tell them that humans don't need weapons. We are weapons. Every single one of us. And if they ever try this again, they're going to learn exactly what that means. The boarding team was transported back to our ship. The connection tunnel disconnected. The Defiant Hope turned away, its engines flaring, heading back toward human space. I watched it go, my datapad trembling in my gripping appendages. I just witnessed something unprecedented. A species that weaponized environmental controls. A commander who won a battle without firing a single shot. A race that was going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with, and Kate Morrison. She just taught the entire galactic collective a lesson that would echo through military academies for centuries. Never, ever assume humans are harmless just because they're unarmed.